Hi again. This video is going to be about going to visit universities and open days, and maybe a bit into the first stages of applying. It's another one in the series about applying to university. The universities I went to go see were ones that were reasonable distances away from me and did the courses I wanted to do. The main course I was looking at was pharmacy, so the examples I can give are about pharmacy. But obviously it applies for most courses really, about going to open days and stuff. I tried to be quite prepared and book open days maybe May time really, for kind of June and July, and some of the places were a bit further away, and so my family and I looked into getting accommodation. For example, we went to Bristol and Bath, which are very close to each other, and so we went to Bath one day and we went to Bristol the next day and just stayed over in Bristol. But yeah, the universities I looked at were Hertfordshire, which I'll talk about each one individually, and I also looked at Medway, which is a combination of Kent and Greenwich. I also looked at Bath and Bristol and Reading, and to be honest they were all good. I was quite surprised at how nice they all seemed and how interesting all the stuff seemed. I've heard like bad things about student accommodations and stuff before, but I think now tuition fees are much higher, universities have more money to spend, so they have better facilities and lots of them have updated their accommodation. The first one I went to go see was Hertfordshire, and I didn't really know anything about Hertfordshire, nothing really much about the county or the university really at all. I now subsequently know more things about it, funnily enough, and what other people have said. But I went there with an open mind, not knowing anything really about the area. It just seemed nice. It wasn't too far away, maybe only a few hours, and it seemed very nice. It did both pharmacy and dietetics, because I looked for both, although you couldn't go to both talks, so I just went to dietetics because that was one of the only places I was actually looking at for dietetics, and I was looking at other places for pharmacy as well, but I still looked at all the same facilities that you would use. And I also looked at like field course, and also I looked at ones that are like across the campus. Basically it's split across two main campuses depending on your subject, but I would mainly be in the main one, but there is one which has a sports village, so at the end of the day we went and looked at that, and the sports bit was really good actually. Had a nice swimming pool and a nice gym and did loads of classes. I think it was quite expensive-ish to join, but I think it would maybe be worth it. I think, to be honest, I'd probably just buy swimming like sessions, because I'm not sure if I would use the rest of the stuff maybe, but it did seem really nice if you are interested in sports. Also the accommodation was really nice, and it was actually quite reasonably priced compared to some of the other universities. It also was quite new, they built so much more recently, and so they had a lot of accommodation to offer, so I don't know, maybe in your second or third year you might not actually need to look for a student accommodation. You might be able to stay on campus if you wanted to, but even the sort of not so nice accommodation was still quite nice, to be honest, and the place just seemed well equipped with lots of different things really. Lots of restaurants, and what I thought was quite cool is they had like a music venue where quite good people come and play before, like musicians and stuff, like singers that are quite famous. I can't think of an example now. I think Ellie Goulding might have been one of them, but I'm not entirely sure. There was quite a lot of good places to get some food, like a shop and things like that. It was nice to see, to be honest. Also they had this was really cool for me. It might not matter to other people, but for me I thought this was really cool. For part of the pharmacy they had a mock hospital ward, and when I'm older I wanted to be a hospital pharmacist, so for me that was really exciting because they had all these kind of mannequin things that I think did replicate a bit like in real life. and but I'm not entirely sure. But then they had all these hospital beds, and they had a little pharmacy room, like a community pharmacy as well, with all these either out of date or fake drugs. So you get all the boxes and you would practice your dispensing, and I thought this was really cool. There's also some placements and things like that, which I thought was good. So yeah, Hertfordshire seemed good. The next one I went to see, I'm not sure which one it was, because I went to three days in a row. I think it was probably Bath. Bath was literally the nicest place. It was definitely my favourite, but the others were nice too. It had lovely green grounds, it had a lovely lake. I think it also helped that it was such lovely weather. It was about 25-30 degrees when I went, and they were selling ice creams and they had loads of stuff going on, although it did take us about 4 or 5 hours to get there, but it should only take maybe 2.5, 3, maybe a little bit more, because we got a little bit lost and there was quite bad traffic. But it was so nice, and the pharmacy man there seemed so enthusiastic about pharmacy and about the different futures of pharmacy, and I think having enthusiastic staff is really important. They also had the actual Olympic swimming pool. It had been moved and transported into their sport bit. It's another campus university. Hertfordshire was also a campus university, which I really liked, because you could get everything on campus really. There was a shop, this massive sports centre, and everything really. It's just on the outskirts of actual Bath, which is a really nice city, well, town I suppose, and it was really nice. It did lots of music clubs and things like that as well, and so I really liked that one. The next day I went to Bristol, where I was looking for medicine, and again it was nice weather. It was nice and hot, although maybe a bit too hot. I have to say I wasn't quite as keen on Bristol as on the others, but that was mainly because I think of the style didn't really suit me as much. It was a city university, so the buildings were spread out throughout the city, which I know some people actually prefer, so if that's what you think you would like, then go look at it, and maybe look at a combination of some city and some campus, so you can actually see what you prefer. But it got very hot walking between the buildings, although the accommodation was so nice. It was really nice old buildings, and it had it was set out in a way that I really liked, with where you had shared toilets. The toilets were like in a block, so it wasn't just like one bathroom between everyone, which I thought was actually quite good. And the rooms were quite big, and there was a grand piano in one of the rooms that anyone could go use. I think there was a bar somewhere as well, which was quite cool. There was a nice student union. It wasn't directly with the accommodation, but there was a nice student union bar which did like quite cheap drinks, which was good. And but the man for medicine seemed a little bit depressing, but I think he was just trying to put people off that weren't really determined to do it, and it did put me off a little bit. And actually the man at Bath put me off medicine as well by saying that they'd rather take someone that wanted to do pharmacy with lower grades than someone who wanted to do medicine, had higher grades but then didn't get into medicine and wanted to do pharmacy instead, which really hit it home that I should just go for pharmacy, which actually I really, really liked, having done some work experience, and I'm glad I applied for pharmacy and not medicine. But so yeah, Bristol was kind of discounted as well because it was medicine and not pharmacy. The other one I looked at in the same set of 3 days. I came home and then went with my dad the next day. Went to Reading, which was my second favourite, I would say, and was my insurance choice. It is really nice as well. The weather wasn't quite as nice when we went, but it was really nice with nice accommodation. Another campus university. I had nice way that it was set out. It was very friendly. Had lots of clubs as well, music wise and sports wise, which I really liked. And again, it just seemed really nice. Had a shop, things like that, and so I really liked that one as well. And that was also for pharmacy, and they seemed very knowledgeable and very enthusiastic about pharmacy. They were a slightly newer pharmacy school, and they were so enthusiastic. And what I thought was quite good is they did a joint venture with Henley Business School, where you could train over the summer. I think you had to pay extra, but train over the summer to get a small business degree or something, or business qualification, because obviously if you do community pharmacy, you might eventually buy a community pharmacy and so own a business, or at least manage a business. So I thought that was very good. The next and last place I visited was Medway, which I said before in a different video, I think, was a combination of Kent and Greenwich. Again, this was really nice. It was set in an old military building, I think. It had like a drill hall, was a library, and I think it's meant to be one of the longest libraries in Europe, and it had all these lovely old brick buildings, all these red brick buildings, and I think it was a naval college, and it was so nice as well. And the accommodation was really nice. You could be in Greenwich or Kent accommodation doing pharmacy because it's a joint one. There was some just University of Kent, I think there's some just University of Medway subjects, but pharmacy is a mixture. Also, you could go to both of the main campuses for Greenwich University and for Kent University, because Medway is just quite a small one. But again, it was really nice, and it had a nice area around it, although it was quite windy, but it was very nice. So basically, all the universities I went to see were really nice. And I also went to a summer school at Surrey, which was really nice as well. But they didn't do pharmacy, but they did dietetics. And I thought I think it clashed with one of the other ones I wanted to go see. So I didn't go to their open day, but I saw it when I went for my summer school, and again, that seemed really nice. But when it came to applying, I applied for the 4 ones for pharmacy, so not Bristol, and I also applied for Brighton because it's our kind of most local one, other than Sussex, where they only had provisional thing from the pharmacy council. So then I was a bit worried that you wouldn't actually be able to become a qualified pharmacist at the end, but I put Brighton as my sort of 5th choice, just because I knew it was meant to be a reasonably good university and it was nice and close. And I did think of going to visit it, but I didn't actually have time in the end. But it was more of a sort of backup if I didn't get any other offers. I'm sorry this video is so long. I hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you for watching the whole thing if you've got to this point. And I'll carry on in another video.